11 Alive News at 11:30 starts now.
I heard the wind, I heard the roaring. To be alive, I'm blessed.
You know, the Lord is just so good. He is just so good. Because look what it could have been. But it's not.
An emotional morning from a resilient community after widespread damage from severe weather rips through neighborhoods, tearing down trees, power lines, damaging homes and buildings. One person is dead in Coweta County after a large destructive tornado hit the area. First responders are working to clear debris and restore power across the area. And now that the sun is out, we are getting a better look at the scope of the damage across the metro, down in Coweta County, up in Polk County, even here in the metro, where several people are still dealing with power outages. So thanks for joining us here at 11. We have had extended storm coverage all morning long, and we're going to continue to bring it to you now. Jerry Carnes is live in Newnan. Jerry, all right, we're going to pivot here because we are getting a live update from Coweta County Public Safety officials. They are getting ready to give us a live update with the very latest. Right now, the latest update they did was about 8:30 this morning. We were there for that one too. We had hoped to learn a little bit more about the identity of the person who was killed in Coweta County. They couldn't tell us anything then. We hope maybe we can learn more now. But we know that's where they gave us several resources for people who needed help. So let's listen in now and see what else they can tell us.
All right, thank y'all for coming back out again today. Again, my name is Michael Terrell. I'm the EMA and 911 director here for Coweta County. We're still continuing our efforts to clear roads, rescue, check houses, so that's underway right now. We're still currently working on response. We're not to the point where we're just clearing streets. We're doing that, but we're still doing response right now, so we're staying really busy. We will have another briefing after at 3 o'clock today to update you more on what's going on. Hopefully we'll have a few more answers on some of those questions if y'all do have some questions about the timing and stuff. But I have our public safety partners here that are going to speak on specifics. But before we do that, I do have someone from the National Weather Service that's going to speak about the storm itself.
Thank you. My name's Keith Stellman. I'm a meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service in Peachtree City. Obviously last night, one of the things we are here to determine was whether or not it was a tornado. It's clear it was a tornado that went through here last night. Shortly after midnight, it was around 12:05 a.m. when it entered Newnan. The storm actually was on the ground further to the southwest, and one of the things we're going to be here to determine is where did it actually first touch down, how long was it on the ground, and where did it actually lift. It does look like it is a long track tornado. We're fairly certain at this point it is a violent tornado, meaning it's at least an EF2 or greater, just based on some of the stuff we've seen. And that's one of the things we're going to be here to determine today, is all of the details of it. And we're going to work with local emergency folks to get to the worst of the damage and try and come up with some estimated wind speeds that actually came through here with that tornado last night. So we'll be around for any questions following, but I'll turn it back over to you.
I'm sorry, so just to clarify, you don't know yet what the estimated top?
No, not until we get out there and actually look at the damage. I mean, we have to get out and see some of the homes and the structures that were destroyed, and from that we will base. We have some guesses based on radar, but the radar doesn't tell us what actually happened on the ground. So.
Also, quick question, broader picture. How many tornadoes? You know how many tornadoes came into Georgia last night? Total?
We do have some damage up in Polk County. We have some damage in Bartow County.
But that was the same tornado that Polk and Bartow.
There might have been different ones. There was damage earlier in the day in Cedartown, and then we had a different storm that came in near Cave Spring, Polk County, in southern Floyd. There was also damage in Bartow County. We're working with that emergency manager as well. So we're still. Or several, yeah. Depends on whether they touch down multiple times or not. And so that's all the data that we have to start putting together and piecing together.
Good morning, I'm Pat Wilson, Fire Chief for Coweta County Fire Rescue Department, and obviously, as you all know, we did experience a tornado last night. or significant weather event for our county and obviously the city of Newnan last night. Our folks worked extremely hard after midnight. Once we started receiving calls, getting our units out, really just trying to assess. Our biggest issues and some of the things that we ran into were obviously all the trees that were down, trying to get to locations, power lines that were down, having to look at alternative methods and ways to get in. Just very treacherous for our folks that were responding last night. Very proud of all efforts by all of our public safety partners, everyone that was involved. It was absolutely a team event in how we responded. One thing I do want to confirm, I know we've been asked by several folks about the fatality that we had here in the county. I can confirm that we did have a fatality in the Smoky Road area. I can't confirm that it was a male, but outside of that, all other details we're waiting on pending or notifying the family. Once we can get that done, then we'll be able to release additional information. So can confirm that we did have a fatality last night.
So was it storm related, weather related?
Well, we know that it was a medical emergency. And in relation to the storm, obviously was just trying to get to this person that was basically trapped by trees and other debris. I don't have any information on that.
So this individual was in his house?
Well, I'm not sure if it was his house, but he was at a home, yes.
And there was damage to the home?
I'll be honest with you, no, I really don't have that information as far as how much damage. I know we just had a lot of trees and debris, and it was very difficult to get to the individual.
So do you know about how long it took you to get there because of the destruction?
Really don't have that information at this point.
Was that the heart attack call that we heard about earlier?
That's it, the medical call, that's correct.
So when you all arrived there, was he then already deceased?
At this point, I don't have any of that information. I'm sorry.
Do you know of any other injuries or fatalities?
We knew we had some minor injuries, none that we were, as far as I know, transported to any hospitals or anything like that.
Can we talk about, I know it'd be you, Chief, but can we talk about an assessment of structural damage from this? The number of homes, the number of structures that were damaged?
Well, I think probably, obviously, between Stephen and I both, I think probably be a good opportunity for us to kind of both talk a little bit about that damage. Obviously, we had a great number of homes damaged in Newnan, out in that Smoky Road area. I don't have a number of homes, but we had quite a number. It was a large number of homes that were either damaged by trees or debris. I just don't have that exact number at this time. And Chief Brown could talk more about the city and what damage that they saw here in the city of Newnan.
But based on what you all have seen, are we talking about 50, 100? Can you give us a ballpark?
Yeah, it's hard to get until we really get out and really get a good assessment. It was dark last night. Our crews were just responding, trying to just make sure people were out of home. So it's really hard to give that number, especially in the dark. They were getting in, just making sure families were out last night.
Chief, can you talk about how many rescues you had to make?
Well, I know we had we had quite a number. I don't know the exact number, but I know our folks, on the county response, had a number of folks that were called to 911 that were trapped in their homes, and where our folks had to either remove trees or debris to be able to get them out. So we had quite a number. I know we were talking earlier, just guesstimating well over 200 calls that came in early during the incident last night.
Since we talked to you at 8:30 this morning, have you had any entrapment or anyone?
At this point, I don't know. I don't believe we've had any additional since that early surge that we had. And I look back over, just making sure I'm not missing anything from the 911 end. But as things kind of ramp down, so now we're kind of in that what we call a secondary search. Got other crews going back through and just looking to make sure we don't have anybody. But I have not been notified of any additional folks that are trapped in homes here in Coweta County.
So, Chief, what is your focus now? You said you're going to go back and see, but I mean, what is your team doing today?
Well, and really today, that's it. Our folks are back out. Well, first and foremost, obviously, and I kind of go back to what we said this morning, community safety, making sure we can help get roads cleared. Number two, being able to get out, assess each home, to make sure nobody's trapped. Ones that receive heavy damage, we have Georgia search and rescue groups here in town that are working between the city of Newnan and Coweta County, going through each home. So we basically have divided the county and the city into quadrants, I believe is the term they're using. And as crews are going out, they're searching each one of those quadrants, each home, one by one, to make sure we have no one else trapped or anyone else hurt in homes.
Can you
Tell me, the state helicopter was here a moment ago. Who was here? Is that the governor? As far as I know, that was I think they were actually coming to pick up one of the senior leaders from maybe the state patrol. So that was state patrol helicopter there. So.
Do you have an update on roads that have been cleared? How much progress has been made this morning?
Well, I'll probably have to turn that back over to Michael to probably answer some of those questions on roads. As far as roads being clear, but I really would like to get my partners from the city up and really talk a little bit about Newnan, because obviously, you know, it's just so much damage here, especially in the historic district of Newnan. So I'll turn it over to Deputy Chief Mark Cooper from the police department. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Deputy Chief Mark Cooper, Newnan Police Department. I will address your question about the road closures. We have made some progress and opened up some streets in the city. U.S. Highway 29, Georgia 14, otherwise known as Greenville Street, is 3/4 of the way passable. So we do have some trees that are still sticking into a lane of traffic. So we ask the public, if they travel that roadway, to be very cautious in that area because they are having to go into another lane possibly and pass vehicles in the opposite direction that way. Some of the other what we refer to as secondary streets in the areas, those have been cleared up to give us a little bit more passage into neighborhoods. We are not having to walk into neighborhoods nearly as much, but we are still sending officers in on foot in some of these neighborhoods that we can't get into yet because of the downed trees. East Broad Street, which then turns into Lower Fayetteville Road, but downtown it's referred to as East Broad Street, is still impassable due to high voltage transmission lines from Georgia Power. And I do not have an estimate on when that roadway will open back up. That is one of our main ingress egress into downtown. So we ask for the public not to attempt to go into that area either. LaGrange Street, which is the corridor that the tornado that we've been talking about, it severely damaged that area in the high school. LaGrange Street is still impassable. We can get our equipment in there to do some work, but we do not feel that it's safe for the general public to be driving in it, so that is still shut down. And the high school loop, the 4 streets that encompass the high school, I believe last time I was notified, those streets were also shut back down as well due to some problems in that area and debris cleanup and safety for the public. Again, we're asking the public, stay out of these areas. You're impeding our response to some of these neighborhoods that do need our help, that the fire, EMS, and state partners are trying to do these searches of the houses. Please stay out of these areas if you do not need to be there. If you do need to be there, please have a set of identification or some paperwork that will allow us to make an easier identification of how we can help you get to an area. You may have to walk in though to your home or to your family's home as well. So that's my update on the roadways. I would like to also thank a number of other agencies as well and our departments. Not only are the fire departments and police department out here working very hard, our public works department is out doing a lot of heavy lifting on these trees to get the roadways open. So I appreciate everything that they're doing and all of our staff as well and the fire staff. We have a number of agencies from around the region that are reaching out to us, so we appreciate them doing that as well. I do have one more announcement before I turn it over to Chief Brown. We do have a temporary supply collection site set up for today. That site is at the Newnan Center on Lower Fayetteville Road. That address is 1515 Lower Fayetteville Road. We are asking for bottled water and general toiletries like toothpaste, toothbrushes, but no clothing. We're not prepared to take on clothing. Some of the churches may be taking on that responsibility and trying to assist the victims, but we are not prepared for clothing yet. Please, if you have a donation, if you'll pull up to the front doors of the Newnan Center, they will help you get that to where it's at. That site will also be open on Saturday, tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I ask that that's where those donations go as well. By the close of business tomorrow at 2 p.m., we will then have a new site designated, and we'll make an announcement on that as well.
Any guesstimate on how many people have been forced out of their homes? The homes are inhabitable?
So I don't have a guesstimate, and the reason for that is by the time we could get into a number of the neighborhoods, we just couldn't identify some of those people and how many of them are going to try to go back into their home, what the structural damage in the middle of the night that home was. Our bigger concern during the middle of the night was, is anyone still in the house at that time? I'm sure that we might be able to give you a better guesstimate on that number later on. We do have a temporary shelter set up as well, but we've only had to take a couple people to that location currently, and most people have been able to get to a friend's house or a family member's house for temporary shelter. I'm gonna refer that over to the EMA director in just a moment. I'm sorry. Anybody else for me? All right, I'll turn it over to Chief Brown.
Good morning again. I'm Stephen Brown, City of Newnan Fire Chief. First of all, my thoughts and prayers are with our citizens. I have, since daylight, gone out and assessed. I've rode down through the historic Newnan, and it is there's heavy damage. Large trees, the historic district, the road to the high school, it'll never look the same. But you know, our citizens are resilient. When I rode through, they're out, they're working. Family members are coming out there, and they're already on their own doing the cleanup. Last night posed a huge problem for us because of the darkness. We really couldn't see what we had. Hundreds of calls that went out, and right now no injuries. Everybody is accounted for and safe. We do have teams out with search and rescue teams that the state has brought in for mutual aid, and they have the city in quadrants, and they are walking on foot and checking every house. And so far, everybody is accounted for, and everything looks good. So, is there any questions?
Chief, what's your thought about this? With this kind of extensive damage, and sadly there is a fatality, but are you surprised that more people were injured, or more fatalities being occurred?
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing. I mean that there's not more injuries. If you could go, once you get out and see that the top of the house is off, the large trees. I mean, 100-year-old trees on top of houses. So, I mean, it's quite remarkable that nobody is, that we haven't had any significant injuries, and hopefully it will stay that way. But so far, no reports of any injuries. Any more? Thank you.
Follow up on the question about the 911 center. Unfortunately, last night in the storm, the Justice Center here downtown on Greenville Street is where all our servers are kept, and that building was extensively damaged. And a lot of our wiring that connects us through our fiber connections were damaged, and so our 911 center did lose our CAD system and our main radios. We were on backup radios, and our backup phones were down. We had our primary phones and backup radios, and everything else we did was on pencil and paper. That's a large part of the reason why we don't have numbers that we can give you on specific buildings, injuries, and all that, because that's normally reports that we're able to run from our CAD systems. And because of the amount of damage that building sustained, our systems were down. So we literally were working off a pen and paper, and we're still tabulating a lot of those. And we had hundreds of calls. We were inundated. We were actually overwhelmed for a while. So there were times that some numbers were not being answered. We were lucky enough that we had assistance from Meriwether County, Troup County, Paulding County, and Fulton County help field 911 calls for us that were overflow calls. So they were able to answer our calls and then get those calls back down to us so we could get someone out for service. Unfortunately, they caused a delay. There was also about a 10-minute window where I actually had to pull my operators out of the center because of the proximity of the storm. Excuse me. get past it. Sorry about that. So there was about a 10-minute window where I pulled my operators out of the center for their safety, so we could actually take shelter ourselves, because I can't do anything if my operators aren't safe. So we were trying our best to protect our citizens, but we also have to protect our employees. It was a massive effort. We were able to call in multiple more people. We were able to answer all of our calls. We were able to get our calls back and call other people, make sure we didn't miss any calls. Anything that came in, we were able to call those people back, but we're still tabulating and making sure that all those addresses are being visited. That's why we ended up doing a grid search, where they're doing door to door and marking the houses with flags and checking them just like they would, like you would see in maybe like a hurricane or something. They're not spray painting the doors, they're doing a flag search. So they're actually going door to door to check on those people because of the amount of damage and infrastructure that we did to our infrastructure we had. So it was significant. So we're still working through that. We're trying to get our link back up so we can get our CAD back operational. But unfortunately, we're still going to be on pencil and paper, and we're working through that right now as best we can. That's why we don't have the numbers that y'all need, and I wish I did have them, but I don't.
So what time was that 911 center hit? What time frame?
It was right about midnight, a little bit after midnight, maybe a quarter after midnight, that we started getting inundated with calls. When the tornado first moved into the county, we started immediately getting calls. And we stayed in the center. I was watching the radar, and when we got about 2 miles out, I pulled my people and said, we got to go. And so we answered calls, and we didn't miss any calls at that point until we pulled them out of the center. Once we had to pull them out of the center, the lines were not answered for that 10-minute time frame. When we got back, we started answering calls again. That's when our other partners helped us out to get those calls routed back to us, and we were able to get those response teams back out there. But unfortunately, with the weather and the damage, there was delayed responses. So, not sure. Sorry. Apologize. Not sure who that is. So. Is a computer-aided dispatch. That's the system that we use when we take a call. We put the notes in that system, and the officers out on the road can see that on their screens in their fire trucks and or patrol cars to see what kind of call, the address. That's how they get the information from the 911 center, that and over the radio. So they get the call over the radio, but then they get the details off the CAD system. The problem is the CAD is how we keep all our statistics. And so we just operate off of radios, and for a while we even operated off of handheld radios. It's still down, yes ma'am. We were trying to get a link back up. Because of the damage, our fiber connections actually have been severed. So we don't have fiber, and it's been severed in multiple places because of the amount of trees that are down. So we don't have connection, and we're trying to work that out right now. Trying to look at several options to get that. GEMA is working with us, and through our GECO representative, Mr. Michael Nix is over there trying his best to get a link back together so we can get our CAD up and running and get back on our primary radios. We're running on backup radios, which still work the same, but if we lose those, that's all the radios we have. It's a redundancy. We have 2 sets of radios. We're on our backups now. Any other questions? Sorry. No, ma'am. No. We were answering calls. We were just having to write the addresses, the names, the phone numbers on paper, and then we would send them out by radio to the officers in the field. But the problem was a lot of those times the officers couldn't get to the location because of the amount of trees and damage. They just, no, ma'am. We were here, other than the 10-minute window that I pulled my operators off the floor, we were answering calls continuously. I actually called in extra operators, and we probably had 30 operators in last night at one point where we were answering to make sure we were calling back every citizen that we could to make sure we didn't miss anyone. But, you know, we take it very seriously. We make sure we don't miss our calls. So if we miss one, we'll call them back. So at least our phone system records all the incoming calls. We'll just call those people back. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, you've just been listening to the latest update from public safety officials down in Coweta County, and we learned a lot from that update. The first major thing that we have learned is that the National Weather Service representative who is down there on the ground in Coweta said that it is clear that this was a tornado. We had suspected that. Our meteorologists had been watching this, and by the look of the damage, they kind of knew that it was, but you have to wait until you have official confirmation, and it looks like we do. He called it what is likely a long track violent tornado, which means that it was likely an EF2 or greater. They still have to do some more surveying of damage in the area before they make an official classification, but they did say it was clear it was a tornado. Now, we also learned a little bit more about the one person killed in Coweta County. We know now that it is a man who is at home, that it was a medical emergency. It came in as that call, but because of the storm and all of the damage, it was very hard for emergency officials to get to this person, so it caused a major delay. And then we learned even more that in the middle of this storm coming through, the 911 center itself was right in the path of that storm, and for about a 10-minute window, they pulled all of the operators to go shelter themselves to try and stay safe because it looked like the tornado was about 2 miles away from them. So there was a 10-minute window where no 911 calls were being answered. And we've also learned that they are still without their CAD system, which is the system where they take calls and give all the information to the officers. They are working on backup radios. They are working with pen and paper. And that is part of the reason everyone is out there doing a grid search, going door to door, knocking on people's houses, making sure no one is trapped, making sure everyone is safe, since it was difficult to get those calls. They were overwhelmed for a while, and say several other police departments in neighboring counties had to help them out. So a lot of information we learned there. They'll have another update and briefing at 3 o'clock. But we do still have crews spread out all across the metro and several down in Coweta County. And as we learn more, we'll make sure to update you here and online at 11alive.com. Let's go now to Jerry Carnes. Jerry, you have had some very emotional interviews with people in Newnan who have really had to shake their perspectives up this morning. They're looking at their houses, which seem to be crushed by trees, and it looks like you're standing in front of the church right now that was pretty devastated ahead of a pretty major weekend for churches. We're coming up on Palm Sunday.
Indeed we are, and this church is going to have to make adjustments. I want to show you the damage here to Calvary Chapel. The roof, a lot of it was blown away during the tornado. The front window smashed in. You see the glass there. You see the water damage. That's the sanctuary right there. The minister does not know if they're going to be able to rebuild. He thinks it may be too costly. Meanwhile, right around the corner, even more devastation. Savannah Street near downtown Newnan is a tangle of twisted trees and tears.
Just a part of having to start over again. It's hard.
Vernita White's home is buried along with everything inside. She was asleep when the tornado came roaring through. It wasn't that long ago that she lost 2 children in a fire.
Pretty much everything is gone. We're gonna have to start all over.
Daniel Coffey isn't all that upset about the car and motorcycle beneath this tree. He's too thankful about the daughter who heard the alert before this tree.
We have this emergency system that alerts people, because without that, I'd be having a funeral right now.
Most of Calvary Chapel's roof is gone. Everything inside ruined.
For the time being, we'll just be thankful to the Lord that the church is fine. Our building is hurt, but the people are fine.
On Savannah Street, there are tears and thanks for those who escaped unharmed. And there's another look inside Calvary Chapel. You see there the books and the glass that is shattered. There is water everywhere from all of the rain damage. The minister tells me that obviously this is going to impact the services coming up this Sunday as well as Easter Sunday. He says it may be online. They may find another place for the congregation to meet. But one way or another, he says they will gather and give thanks to those who for those who survived.
Wow. I mean, it is, if the silver lining, Jerry, he mentioned earlier, is that they're already set up because of COVID. They're already set up for virtual services. So at least hopefully that transition will be seamless. Thank you, Jerry. After a night of severe storms, restless night, a sleepless night for many people, Chesley, what are you still tracking? I still see some active colors on that radar there.
For our area, just the clouds. And you saw in Jerry's shot, he's down there in Newnan, where we're starting to see some sun peek through that cloud already. Looks like we have mostly cloudy skies, according to our radar here. The heavy rain is pushing out of our forecast area. Our southernmost counties here, Putnam, Jasper County, we just have the clouds in place, some light showers, some sprinkles around. Even up here to the north, we're finally starting to clear out, see some sunshine there. Let's get a closer look at it here. You can see very light as far as rain goes over toward Barnesville, right along 75 down toward the city of Forsyth. You see it's very light. You got a moderate pocket or two, but other than that, we're really clearing it out this afternoon. Some scattered showers over toward Covington. You got it in Newnan County as well, right along I-20 here, and also light up toward the Athens area. Everywhere else, the rain has pushed out, so we don't have a severe weather threat for the rest of the afternoon. The severe weather threat will push a little bit further down to the south over the central and southern portions of the state. Of course, with the daytime heating and that front diving down to the south, that's where we'll see a marginal risk for severe weather. It's a level 1 of a possible 5, but we're not out of the woods as far as any rain for the weekend, though. Well, this weekend, we're looking at more rain pushing back into the forecast area, unfortunately, and possibly for some thunderstorms as well. Temperatures right at 67 degrees by noon. 75 will be our afternoon high temperature. We'll get that mix of sun and clouds through the rest of the afternoon, down to 72 by 7. How about the weekend outlook? Well, temperatures will be warming up tomorrow. I think we'll have some scattered showers around in the morning. By the afternoon, we'll begin to clear it out. Looking at 80 for an afternoon high. We'll drop down a little bit on Sunday as more thunderstorms will push into the forecast area. In fact, there is a slight risk for severe weather. I'll show you exactly where that is, and we'll time it out for you hour by hour in the full forecast coming up. Christy, back to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chesley. I appreciate that. The line of storms hit Newnan particularly hard, especially downtown historic Newnan. Brittany Klein-Peter joins us live now from Newnan with more on the damage. Brittany, what are you seeing around you?
Christy, it's pretty extensive over here. We just made our way in front of Newnan High School, and I'm going to be honest, it took us quite a while to get over here because all of the roadways are shut down and police are really trying to clean up those roadways. But the wow factor when we got over here, we heard the high school was damaged. The wow factor was this street right here, LaGrange Street. We're seeing all these homes basically gone, some of them unlivable, some of them without roofs, but it is very extensive. As we've been out here, a lot of people walking down the streets. We actually just saw a group of women walking hand in hand crying as they were looking at these houses. So it's a pretty emotional scene out here, pretty devastating. We are also seeing that damage at the high school, and the superintendent saying that is one of the most damaged schools that he's seen so far this morning. There is parts of the roof missing on the high school. We're also seeing debris on the football field in the high school, and there is a lot of debris and power lines leaning against the building as well. The Newnan High School is relatively large, so it is seeing a lot of damage on different buildings there. We're also seeing a lot of crews out here. They are not letting commuters down in this area, again, because of the damage and because of the efforts to get this all cleaned up. But we are seeing quite a lot of devastation out here. It's really hard to put into words what exactly we're seeing. One of the houses behind me, the roof is gone, the windows are out, family is in there, and they're talking with one another, and we're actually seeing a couple sitting there crying. But we are out here in Newnan. Again, we talked to the fire chief, and they said they are still going door to door, checking on residents to see if everyone is okay in this area. But we will check back in with you in a bit, Christy.
Gosh, Brittany, it looks like people are going in their houses, seeing whatever they can salvage, whatever they can find. Certainly an emotional morning in Coweta County for people living there. Thank you for that live look. The storms also swept through Heard County, leaving a trail of damage around the Franklin area. Amazingly, though, no one was hurt, at least as far as we can tell. Joe Ripley has been there all morning long since it was very dark this morning and you had to use your car headlights to see the damage. But Joe, it looks like cleanup is already underway there.
Yeah, we've come a long way since early this morning. This community has really come a long way since early this morning, Christy. Let me step out of the way so you can see what Newnan Street looks like now. You see that snapped power pole, but then take a look at the street here, and we saw a full tree blocking the road earlier today that has since been shifted out. You can hear the chainsaws in the background here as the storm might be over, but the cleanup is just beginning.
You know, the Lord is just so good. He is just so good. Because look what it could have been. But it's not. Thank goodness. It's a lot that has to be cleaned up, but not, you don't have to clean up people, which is wonderful. So I'm grateful for that. So grateful.
And coming up in the next half hour, you are going to hear a harrowing rescue story that happened just down the road there. A woman's screams caught the attention of a neighbor next door, the two of them making it out of that home with their lives intact. That story coming up.
Wow. I mean, stories like that, community helping each other. That's what we'll be sharing all morning long. It is 11:35 right now. A deadly line of tornadoes tearing through parts of Alabama overnight. A look at how communities there are faring this morning. That's next.
Two. You got me? Sorry about that.
Let's take you back to Coweta County as we continue our storm coverage this morning. Mara Sirianni just listened to public safety officials give an update on the scope of the damage and what they're having to do, checking on people door by door, working on calls with pencil and paper. Mara, will you give us a recap of what we learned?
Yeah, Christy, we learned around 11:45 or midnight when the first calls came in. They were simply inundated over at the 911 dispatch center. Fire chief here in Coweta County tells me countywide, initially they received a flood of 200 plus calls. And then at one point, the 911 dispatch center went down, and so they had to take those calls by pencil and paper, and they're still doing that at this hour. That has proven to be a really big challenge for them. Also, we heard from the NWS, they believe this was a violent tornado. Estimated wind speeds at this point are still unknown, but of course today they'll be out surveying damage and looking at structures. So right now, they can't even begin to estimate how many buildings and homes were damaged. You're looking at a bird's eye view of some some of that damage here in Newnan right now. Coweta Fire Chief Pat Wilson confirms there was one fatality as a result of a person having a medical emergency. He says the crews had trouble getting to that man, and sadly he passed away.
If you don't need to be out in these neighborhoods because you have family there or something, I mean, that's one thing. But if you don't need to be in these neighborhoods, please stay away. It's not going to do our crews, the public safety folks and the cleanup crews, any good to have to be dealing with your safety along with their safety and the cleanup. So we would appreciate it very much if you would take your views from social media and the pictures that are going to be from the media and stay away from the neighborhoods.
And that was Newnan Mayor Keith Brady there. You just heard him say if you don't have to be out and about, please avoid these areas that they're still working to clean up. So they actually say they have made a lot of progress in the past couple of hours since we last heard from emergency crews and first responders out here. A lot of these secondary streets are now clear, but in the area where Brittany was, you heard from her just a few minutes ago in the show near the high school, that is where the bulk of the damage is. Also East Broad Street, that is an area where there are high voltage lines, so incredibly dangerous. They are asking drivers to please avoid that area. They're working as quickly as possible to rectify the situation, and linemen are out and about. You just need to give them some space.
Yeah, that's what's going to help them help you get the power back on the most right now. It certainly helps to have daylight too. Mara, thank you. Right now, help is available for people in Coweta County needing food and other supplies after the violent storm overnight. Just an hour ago, we spoke to a Newnan City Councilman. He tells us they have boxes of food, goodie bags full of supplies. All of this is at the Newnan Center. That's on Lower Fayetteville Road in Newnan. They are also accepting donations. Right now, what they're asking for is water and basic toiletries. They're not taking clothing right now. They're not set up to do that. But they have already received some donations from Chick-fil-A. Right now, they are serving lunch, and they will continue serving whoever needs help for the rest of the day. We continue to get more images and video as people share them on social media and text them to us. Many of you sharing your direct experiences with us, what you woke up to this morning, what you experienced last night as the storm and this tornado moved through the area. Liza Lucas has been sifting through it all. Liza, you've had to, root out a few false pictures that have been rolling around online, but the, reality is bad enough.
It is indeed, and that's what we've really been trying to come across as we've been vetting these pictures that have been coming into the newsroom. Thank you to those of you that have been sending your pictures, your video, and you've been our eyes and ears connection to so many parts of the metro. I want to give you a little look right here. This is Sam, 5 years old, lives in Fayette County. Just giving you an example of the damage, the perspective of the damage at his home. And they say it's not as bad as some people are dealing with, but Sam and his family just wanted to share that this morning. We've also been talking with Cindy quite a bit on text over in Helen, Georgia. She was keeping us posted overnight as some of the flooding that was happening in her backyard. She backs up to the river there. She sent us a daylight picture. Normally there's like an island kind of area. That area is kind of covered right now because the waters are rising, but she did say she is doing well. Now Denise actually walked out this morning, was just checking the bird feeder. Of course, the rain had been pouring, she said, in her area, but she was surprised to find this, and we want to give you a closer look at the video that she sent us this morning. Yep, 7 a.m. hail just sifting through that. Very much intact. She was surprised, and our other storm trackers were as well, that this was not yet melted. Again, that is in Covington. Denise, thanks so much for sending that along. Now, in addition, we want to turn the attention back to Newnan, where we're seeing the hashtag Newnan Strong start to trend and start to pop up as people share their experiences. Those that are away from Newnan, away from home, they're turning to social media and really looking to see what's going on in their town. The police also using that Newnan Strong hashtag, the community really coming together. Christy, you talked about those donations and the need for that. And we want to give you an update on this pup too. We talked about him in the early morning hours. Police were trying to track down his family. Well, good news, the owners indeed were found, so we expect a reunion on that front too. We're working on trying to find some more details on their story, but just a little update because a lot of people were sharing this little guy's picture. Home, safe, again. A lot of stories coming out of the Newnan area this morning. That hashtag Newnan Strong is really starting to pop up in our feeds.
Well, the rain just about gone. We have light rain over our forecast area. The heavy rain is pushing further down to the south and over toward the east, over toward the Augusta area, as a matter of fact, is where you're going to find some of the heaviest rain. The rest of us starting to clear out a little bit, especially up here to the far north, like Georgia's Rome. Got some sunshine breaking out there. So you expect your temperatures to go up just a little bit. That front itself is pushing right on through, and so temperatures down into the 60s right now, but I think we'll rise back up as we head into the afternoon, right around 65 degrees for your afternoon high. Talk about some of these showers down here to the south. You can see over toward Thomaston. That's where we got still got some lightning strikes associated with that down in Upson County. So still dealing with some of the front showers and rain there. Has been light just north of Barnesville up toward Butts County into Jackson. And you can see some spotted showers here over toward Madison, Monroe, Covington as well. Even over into the Athens area, we do have some scattered precipitation, but again, all light. Even heading into Gwinnett County as well, all light. I suspect this will be with us at least through early afternoon. Late, we'll even see a little bit more clearing taking place and a little bit further down to the south as that cold front pushes through and some drier air will start to work in. Don't get used to it though. Yeah, the clouds will come right back to us and we'll have a chance for rain as we head into our weekend. We're tracking the front, as I just mentioned, how that's moving further off to the south. Our winds are shifting now. We had them out of the south, and now our winds are shifting more to the northwest. We're coming northwest and more westerly as it moves into our state. And so we'll continue to watch this high pressure as it will dry us out briefly again before more showers move back in. The severe weather threat further down to the south, as you can see over the central and southern portions of the state. That's a level 1 out of a possible 5. You can see up here through our margin there. This is a marginal risk for severe weather. Again, south of Macon. That light green shade over us just means a general threat with thunderstorms, but we already had those. We don't have to worry about that this afternoon. Tomorrow, a little different story. Notice the storm system moving in our direction starts to intensify. You got an enhanced risk for severe weather in western portions of Tennessee. It includes Memphis. The slight risk extends over into parts of northern Alabama, and then the marginal risk extends into our state. As you can see, our far northwestern counties under a marginal risk. This is on Saturday. So up into the north, where we can see some more thunderstorms there. General threat down toward the metro area and southward. Now watch what happens on Sunday. As the storm gets a little bit close to us now, it will weaken somewhat, but we're still looking at that slight risk for severe weather to be in our area on Sunday. That's Atlanta northward. What does that mean for us? Well, some of the thunderstorms could produce some damaging winds. We'll have to watch that. Winds up to 60, 70 miles per hour. Also, we could be looking at some very heavy rain associated with it, and you can't rule out a brief tornado with a slight risk for severe weather. So that's something that we'll watch out for on Sunday. What's the timing on that? I know you got plans. Some of you got to get your kids out to soccer or some baseball. I know you got to do it. And so if it's not going to be a situation where they have to leave the field for heavy rain, then I think they'll play. Certainly you'll be looking out for the lightning strikes, but I don't think you'll have that on Saturday morning. Here's what I mean by that. All right, here's the rest of Friday. Notice how we continue to clear out as the front continues to sink further down to the south. As high pressure gets a little bit closer to us, we're looking at skies drying out somewhat. I'm going to call it a mix of sun and clouds for the rest of the afternoon for today. Overnight, you're going to notice the clouds begin to move back up to the north. And so we'll wind up with mostly cloudy skies to start off the day on Saturday, and we'll have some scattered showers around. Now, if we see any thunderstorms, I think it'll be up here to our far northwest where we have that marginal threat for severe weather. Atlanta southward, just a few spotty showers around, and they'll stick around at least through about 2 o'clock in the afternoon before things begin to subside, so we'll watch out for that. Here we go on Sunday. Here comes a line of showers and thunderstorms. Now, this is what's giving us that slight risk for severe weather. That will begin to move in, but it's early on Sunday, so you have it around 7:30 in the morning. We'll make its way down toward the metro area as we head toward the afternoon. There will be some embedded thunderstorms that could produce those gusty winds I was telling you about. Also, the very heavy rain that could be expected with this, maybe even a little light hail as well. So we'll continue to watch that. It pushes through. We'll gradually dry it out as we head into late Sunday, going into Monday. In fact, Monday will probably be the best day of the work week next week. 64 degrees will be the high temperature, and the rain comes back to us by the middle of the week. Christy?
Parts of Alabama saw major destruction overnight as well. Holly Furfer is in Alabama, where at least 14 tornadoes touched down, inflicting severe damage across the state.
Across the South, destruction.
This tree's down. It's been completely uprooted.
And devastation.
I worked my whole life
to put this stuff in this house, and then it just ripped away in 1 second, you know.
As several long-track supercells spawned a wave of deadly tornadoes across 5 states Thursday afternoon into Friday morning.
Oh my God!
At least 14 tornadoes were reported in Alabama alone, according to the National Weather Service, downing trees, destroying businesses, and razing homes.
When you drive through these areas, it's very devastating. It broke my heart to see the amount of damage that these homes have sustained.
Residents describing the chaos.
I started hearing the wind. We felt the house shake a little bit. You could see outside the windows how everything was going.
Neighborhoods demolished in an instant.
This street right here, my cousins live here. I came to check on them, and it's destroyed. It's terrible.
In Calhoun County, at least 5 reported dead.
And we immediately started getting reports of structures damaged, people trapped, and we're up to at least 5 fatalities at this time.
As the storms pass, communities now facing a difficult road ahead.
Please continue to keep our city and our residents in your thoughts and prayers.
That same storm system crossing the state line and coming over into Georgia, and now we are seeing similar damage as well. A lot of cleanup happening today. We will break you and we will take you through it all. It's 11:50 right now. Stick with us. We'll have more after the break.
Here at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
The fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun.
Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up.
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees.
We are continuing to follow the severe storm damage throughout Coweta County. We have confirmed through the National Weather Service a tornado hit Newnan, killing one person and tearing into buildings across the town. And we just got new drone video from Rome. This is from Grizzard Park. You can see the parking lot and the fields under several inches of water. It almost looks like you're looking at the sky because of the reflection, and that water was so crystal clear. We have heard about as much damage in Rome, but several roads are closed right now because of all the flooding. Emergency crews there are urging people to stay off of the roads unless it is absolutely necessary right now. Our live team coverage of the storm damage will continue coming up at noon. In other news, making headlines, State Representative Park Cannon is out of jail today. Cannon was arrested yesterday afternoon outside of Governor Brian Kemp's office for refusing to stop knocking on his office doors. She has been charged with felony obstruction. It was an apparent protest of the Republican-led election reform bill, which lawmakers had just passed. The bill mainly focuses on restricting absentee voting, keeps volunteers from giving voters waiting in line food and water, and allows the state to take control of what it calls underperforming local election systems. Within hours, Governor Brian Kemp signed it into law. Critics say the measure will roll back voting rights and is rooted in former President Trump's claims that the election was stolen. Calls for change erupted following the November presidential election when Biden flipped Georgia from red to blue. This morning, U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock said he sees a lot of issues with the law and he hopes to make some changes at the federal level. A lawsuit has now been filed in response to the new election laws. It's been brought on by the New Georgia Project, Black Voters Matter Fund, and RISE. The case claims the bill's voting restrictions violate the 14th Amendment and Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. It's 11:55 right now. We have much more ahead. Join us again starting at noon.
Level zoom and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee. Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Weather changes can make or break your day. That's why the 11 Alive Storm Trackers are always watching what's coming next, delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. The Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11 Alive.
11 Alive News at noon starts now.
I heard the wind, I heard the roaring. To be alive, I'm blessed.
You know, the Lord is just so good. He is just so good. Because look what it could have been. But it's not.
Widespread damage after severe weather rips through neighborhoods, tearing down trees, power lines, and damaging homes and buildings and schools. One person is dead in Coweta County after a large destructive tornado hit the area. First responders are working to clear debris and going door to door to check on citizens. And linemen working hard to restore power there. Take a look at this drone video of the damage across Newnan. An aerial view gives us a better idea of the scope of the damage. Lots of trees down. Some houses have roofs ripped off. Luckily, those look like they're intact, but look at those roots completely up from some very large trees. And now that the sun is out and we are getting a look at the damage left behind after a rough night of severe weather, it's clear to see why the community is emotional but resilient. One of the City of Newnan fire chief says some parts of the city will never look the same. Thanks for sticking with us at this midday. I'm Christy Diaz. We have team coverage for you. Continuing this midday, our crews are stationed in the hardest hit areas from last night's storm. We have live team coverage of the damage, and we're hearing from people who survived. Jerry Carnes begins our coverage live in Newnan. Jerry, you have talked to some people and heard some incredible stories of survival this morning. I'm thinking of a man whose daughter ran out of her room just in time, and now you're standing in front of a church that has a long way to rebuild.
That's exactly right. Good afternoon. We want to start by showing you the inside of Calvary Chapel here. We can see inside because the front window is completely blown in. You see glass scattered everywhere. There is damage all through. A lone church member in here trying her best to clean up. Most of the roof is gone. This is a historic building that may be a total loss nearby. Total devastation. Savannah Street near downtown Newnan is a tangle of twisted trees and tears.
Just a part of having to start over again. It's hard.
Vernita White's home is buried along with everything inside. She was asleep when the tornado came roaring through. It wasn't that long ago that she lost 2 children in a fire.
Everything, pretty much everything is gone. We're gonna have to start all over.
Daniel Coffey isn't all that upset about the car and motorcycle beneath this tree. He's too thankful about the daughter who heard the alert before this tree.
We have this emergency system that alerts people, because without that, I'd be having a funeral right now.
Most of Calvary Chapel's roof is gone. Everything inside ruined.
For the time being, we'll just be thankful to the Lord that the church is fine. Our building is hurt, but the people are fine.
On Savannah Street, there are tears and thanks for those who escaped unharmed. Of course, here at Calvary Church, Palm Sunday services and Easter Sunday services completely changed because of what has happened here. I talked to the minister who tells us the services will go on, possibly online, or maybe they'll find another place to gather, but they need to gather to give thanks for those who were spared.
Indeed, Jerry. And ahead of a Palm Sunday weekend, a really important weekend for the church. Mara Sirianni also in Coweta County, where crews are hard at work trying to help clean up the area. Mara, you have more on the aftermath of this tornado, and you were there for the press conference where we learned a little bit more about the person who died.
We learned the reality of just how inundated they were last night at the 911 dispatch center. More than 200 calls countywide between 11:45 and midnight when this likely tornado really blew through the area. And so at one point the dispatch really went down, and so they had to record these 911 calls and street names by pencil and paper. I'm told they're still doing that at this point, and that has really proven to be a big challenge, along with the fact that they really just had an overflow of calls. So we heard from the NWS a short time ago. You're looking at video of the damage here in Newnan. It's really hard to estimate wind speeds at this point. That is unknown because today, of course, they will be out surveying the damage and looking at structures. Right now, they can't even begin to estimate how many of these structures and homes, businesses were actually damaged. Coweta Fire Chief Pat Wilson does confirm to me there was one fatality as a result of a person having a medical emergency, a man, and crews had trouble getting to him. Again, here is Chief Wilson.
I do want to confirm, I know we've been asked by several folks about the fatality that we had here in the county. I can confirm that we did have a fatality in the Smoky Road area. I can't confirm that it was a male, but outside of that, all other details we're waiting on pending or notifying the family. Once we can get that done, then we'll be able to release additional information. So can confirm that we did have a fatality last night.
And so again, that was a fatality here in the Newnan area. Medical emergency crews simply could not get to that person fast enough due to the damage. And so they have made significant progress in the past few hours as far as clearing roadways. I'm told that a lot of these secondary streets have been cleared. That's the good news. However, East Broad Street, that is the main road here in Newnan, they want you to definitely avoid. I'm told there are high voltage lines in that area that linemen are working to really rectify that situation and get things back up and going. But again, if you see these crews, just steer clear. They're asking you not to take pictures and not to go to these areas that are heavily damaged, like near the high school.
Right, and the high school in that area near LaGrange Road and Smoky Road seem to be part of the hardest hit. And Mara, it sounds like we know the person who had that medical emergency that subsequently died was also in the area of Smoky Road, which seems to be one of the most damaged areas from what you can tell.
Yeah, that's where they believe the tornado actually touched down. But again, the NWS has to go out to that area and survey things. And so I asked them, you know, what really was the complication with getting to this person. They said that there were some trees blocking the area. I'm not sure if trees fell on the man's home or if they were simply in the roadway. But again, that was definitely a hindrance for first responders who were trying to get to this man having the medical emergency, tragically.
Yeah, they talked about first responders having to walk into some of these neighborhoods for several hours this morning because even they couldn't get through. All right, Mara, thank you very much for the update. Right now, help is available for people in Coweta County who need it, especially food and other supplies after this violent storm overnight. About an hour ago, we spoke to a Newnan City councilman. He tells us they have boxes of food, goodie bags full of supplies, and all of this is at the Newnan Center. That's on Lower Fayetteville Road in Newnan. They are also accepting donations. They've already received some from Chick-fil-A, but right now they are serving lunch, and they'll continue giving food to whoever needs it throughout the day. We have new video just in from the 11 Alive Sky Tracker of Newnan High School. You can see the school's roof heavily damaged in the storms, huge sections torn off, debris scattered across the parking lot. Looks like roofs of houses nearby also torn off. A lot of damage there, badly damaged. Entire roofs ripped off or caved in, walls knocked over, huge trees toppled. Everywhere you look, left and right. Crews out right now working to clear what they can, but this neighborhood really hurting. Our hearts go out to this community dealing with the destruction. School obviously closed for the day. We don't know yet about Monday, but we should get an update later on. Brittany Kleinpeter continues our team coverage. She is very close to where the school is, what you just saw in that footage. And Brittany, we just saw that video. The school took a really hard hit.
That's right, Christy, but what we're seeing that is really taking the wind out of us when we came out here was the homes on this street. As you can see behind me, this is a home on LaGrange Street, and this vehicle completely covered with trees. The residents are obviously not in the area, but we're going to take a walk down LaGrange Street just to give you guys a better idea of the damage we're seeing. Now, this is authorities are saying is some of the hardest hit spots in all of Newnan, and we're seeing, it's hard to say even how many houses, but houses without roofs, a lot of power lines, trees on top of houses, and there's a lot of folks out here just kind of walking up and down the streets as well. Some people inside of their homes really just trying to salvage what they can from their homes, it looks like, and then other people just kind of taking in all that they're seeing along this roadway. We saw a handful of women walking arm in arm just about 30 minutes ago, and they were crying, looking at these homes. As you can see on this right here, we do have a brick home that is basically unlivable, as a lot of these houses out here are. So really devastating. A lot of people out here getting hit by this impact of this devastation out here. They are still working out here to clean things up, and crews are telling us that they are still checking door to door to check on residents and make sure that folks are okay out here. There's also some food trucks there trying to feed the residents along this roadway, but again, just utter devastation out here. Christy.
Yeah, emergency services are kind of crippled too. They're still working without their CAD system. That's why they're doing that grid search door to door. We have more new video coming in from Newnan. Scott sharing this rooftop view from Hollis Heights and 6th Street. You can see tree after tree on this block uprooted or snapped in half. This one really breathtaking. Trees falling across streets and homes, debris scattered everywhere he looks. It doesn't look like any home in this neighborhood was spared. Trees falling on garages, swing sets, and on cars. Scott saying in the past he couldn't see most of his neighbors' homes like this because the trees would have blocked the view, but now most of the trees have either been uprooted or snapped in half, allowing him this eerie and very clear view of houses far down the street. We just got new drone video also, this in from Roan. This is from Grizzard Park. You can see the parking lot and the fields under several inches of water there. Almost a mind trick because it looks like you're looking at the sky, but you're not. That's the ground. And we've heard about as much damage in Rome, but several roads are closed right now because of all the flooding. Emergency crews there urging people to stay off the roads unless it is absolutely necessary right now. You can see why. It's not safe to drive through that. The storms also swept through Heard County, leaving a trail of destruction around the Franklin area. Amazingly, Joe, no one was hurt. But Joe, you've been out there talking to people all morning long, and you say you have a pretty amazing rescue story?
That's right. From Newnan to Newnan Street here in Franklin, Heard County, progress is being made, Christy. As you can see, this road just opened up, actually. There were power lines in it earlier. You can see some of the sawed off limbs that folks, volunteers from all over town have been coming out to help chop up and clean up really this damage. And as you take a look here, there's still a lot of work left to be done.
The sounds of cleanup after a night of severe storms. Neighbors in Franklin helped to clear roads of debris, down trees, and power lines. The wind blew a carport off a home on Newnan Street and threw the piece of mangled metal into neighbors' yards several feet away. Snapped power poles, a mailbox scattered in the street.
We were very thankful. The Lord was looking after us.
And despite the damage, Heard County Fire Chief Steve Worth says there were no reported injuries.
We had some gas leaks that we had to take care of, down hot lines that we had to get electric company in and take care of it. Focus right now is getting things restored back as quick as we can, you know, and trying to get back to some kind of normalcy, get power restored and assist these people with damaged homes.
Like Simone Baldwin, she managed to seek shelter in her bathroom when a tree toppled onto her home.
I heard terrible things. I mean, I heard stuff coming against the trailer.
Caleb Thornton heard what sounded like a train and Baldwin's screams and rushed to get her out of the trailer.
I was kind of scared at first because I didn't know if the tree was going to continue falling through the house and crush us both. So when I got in there, my first thing was to just get out.
Both are alive now to tell their story. Baldwin, a widow, was able to salvage mementos of her late husband, who's a veteran. A flag, pictures, and his urn. And so it's back to cleaning up, restoring not just power, but livelihoods, and keeping perspective.
You know, the Lord is just so good. He is just so good. Because look what it could have been. But it's not. Thank goodness. It's a lot that has to be cleaned up, but not, you don't have to clean up people, which is wonderful.
A towering task ahead to clean up. As you see, people of all ages here walking the sidewalks, pitching in where they can to try and clean up, help their neighbors, complete strangers even, but still a lot of work to be done here in Heard County after the storm tore through overnight.
Wow, Joe, excellent interviews there. Talk about perspective when people are waking up looking at that damage and still able to say thank you. So after a night of severe storms, Chesley, we're all kind of hoping that's the end of it, no more. But can we expect any storms for the rest of the day?
Not for our area. I think most of those thunderstorms will be further down to the south of our area. You can see over toward the Macon area. That's where the severe thunderstorm risk is now and will stay in the central and southern portions of the state. We have begun to clear out, especially up to our far north. You can even see the clouds clearing out. Mix of sunny clouds everywhere else, even down in Newnan, where most of our crews are assessing a lot of that damage. And so at least it's a dry day and a clear day or clearing day to help clean up from those storms. Now, temperatures today will get up into the 70s, right around 75 degrees for a forecast high. Don't get used to the dry weather because more wet weather is coming back to us. We'll talk about the we'll talk about the weekend outlook and the full forecast coming up.
We are following breaking news right now out of Cartersville. WBHF Radio sharing this video with us. The station reporting the fire is burning right now at Taylor's Junkyard Metal Recycling. The fire department says a huge stack of scrap cars is burning and has been since around 9 this morning. No one has been hurt, but rescuers say this fire may keep burning for several hours. We'll keep an eye on that. It's 12:14 right now. A deadly line of tornadoes tore through parts of Alabama overnight. A look at how communities there are faring this morning. That's coming up next.
Accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. For Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
The fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun. Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee. Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
More drone video just coming in from Newnan. Take a look at this. It's breathtaking, really. This is from Robinson Street. The destruction just unbelievable in this neighborhood. Homes here ripped apart, massive trees uprooted, crashing cars and homes. That home, look at it. I mean, it looks like a dollhouse with the roof taken off. You can't. Doesn't even look like a full structure anymore. As the drone flies over the block, you can see more trees snapped in half or fallen across yards. We've said these words a lot this morning, but there are no words for what we're seeing here. A lot of the damage in this area, we're hearing the National Weather Service is at the high school right now surveying the damage. We know a tornado hit Newnan, but the National Weather Service will be able to tell us by looking at the damage how strong of a tornado it was. We have been, or you have been, sharing your pictures of videos of storm damage to the 11 Alive newsroom all morning long. This photo sent in by a viewer out of Cartersville. A large tree completely uprooted from the ground. You're taking a look at the roots there. A viewer says this tree fell toward the house, but thankfully no one was hurt. It is really amazing more people weren't hurt here. It could have been so much worse. Look at this little kid here in Tyrone, Georgia. A 5-year-old boy stands next to debris from his home. That sighting is twice his size, showing how high winds ripped through the area. The family says multiple branches and pieces from their house were strewn across the yard, but luckily they had minimal damage. And then finally, a viewer in Covington woke up to hail in her yard. She was surprised to see it hadn't all melted because of the warmer weather here, but there she is, thumbing through it and yeah, holding it. It didn't break apart. If you have pictures and video of damage at your home or in your neighborhood from the storm and you can safely take it, picture or video, send it to us on our Facebook page, or if you're a member of the 11 Alive Storm Tracker page, you can share it there. You can also text us. We have that number up on 11alive.com. But let's turn now to 11 Alive meteorologist Chesley McNeil. Chesley, I know it's been a long night for you and all of the meteorologists here, but let's look ahead. What can we expect for the rest of the weekend?
Well, more rain, unfortunately. We are drying it out for this afternoon, and we'll have a good afternoon. You can see the skies already clearing in our northernmost counties. That will continue to be the trend as we head further south. Now it's going to take some time for these clouds to completely mix out, but we'll have a mix of sun and clouds from Atlanta southward today. And you can see the heavy rain has pushed well south of our area, down toward Macon now. We've cleared out here for the most part in Jackson County. Got a few light sprinkles here, even in Spalding County. You can see western portion of Spalding County starting to see some sun peek through those clouds. Up toward Brunswick and over toward Monroe, this is Walden County. You're looking at a few light showers there. That's all that's going to be left over for the rest of the afternoon. A few light showers for the most part. Just a mix of sun and clouds. Thanks to a cold front that's now pushing through our forecast area. It's pushing or nudging this down to the south. High pressure has built in, and so our severe weather threat is down to the south as well. Now tomorrow, look at what comes back to us. A marginal risk for our extreme northwestern counties. Look at that, an enhanced risk over toward the west of us. We have the slight risk for severe weather, which is a level 2. That'll be on Sunday as another front pushes in. That means we can see thunderstorms here that pack quite a punch as far as those wind speeds go. So we'll be watching that on Sunday. Here's how it all times out for us. Again, mix of sun and clouds for the rest of the afternoon. Overnight, the clouds come back to us. We'll have some scattered showers around early on Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, that pushes up to the far north. On Sunday, here comes the front. You can see a line of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these will produce some pretty gusty winds, some very heavy rain as well. We'll watch for some hail. An isolated tornado, certainly not out of the question with this line coming through. At least it will be early. Late, we'll begin to clear it out. We'll even clear these skies out, I think, as we start the work week next week. On Monday, we'll get the sunshine back in, probably the best day of the week. A 9 on the wazometer, 64 for your high temperature. We'll warm those temperatures up as we head through the week, but the chance for rain also goes up as well. Christy, over to you.
That storm system starting across the state line in Alabama, where several deadly tornadoes created a path of destruction across the state. Holly Furfer is in Alabama, where at least 14 tornadoes touched down.
Across the South, destruction.
This tree's down. It's been completely uprooted.
And devastation.
I worked my whole life to put this stuff in this house, and then it just ripped away in 1 second, you know.
As several long-track supercells spawned a wave of deadly tornadoes across 5 states Thursday afternoon into Friday morning.
Oh my God!
At least 14 tornadoes were reported in Alabama alone, according to the National Weather Service, downing trees, destroying businesses, and razing homes.
When you drive through these areas, it's very devastating. It broke my heart to see the amount of damage that these homes have sustained.
Residents describing the chaos.
I started hearing the wind. We felt the house shake a little bit. You could see outside the windows how everything was going.
Neighborhoods demolished in an instant.
This street right here, my cousins live here. I came to check on them, and it's destroyed. It's terrible.
In Calhoun County, at least 5 reported dead.
And we immediately started getting reports of structures damaged, people trapped, and we're up to at least 5 fatalities at this time.
As the storms pass, communities now facing a difficult road ahead.
Please continue to keep our city and our residents in your thoughts and prayers.
It is 12:22 right now. A state representative has been charged with felony obstruction. Up next, why Representative Park Cannon was arrested in the first place.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
And the fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun. Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, Open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the first of the century.
What's the
State Representative Park Cannon is out of jail today. Cannon was arrested yesterday afternoon outside of Governor Brian Kemp's office for refusing to stop knocking on his office doors. She has been charged with felony obstruction. It was an apparent protest of the Republican-led election reform bill, which lawmakers had just passed. The bill mainly focuses on restricting absentee voting, keeps volunteers from giving voters waiting in line food and water, and allows the state to take control of what it calls underperforming local election systems. Within hours, Governor Brian Kemp signed it into law. Critics say the measure will roll back voting rights and is rooted in former President Trump's claims that the election was stolen. Calls for change erupted following the November presidential election when Biden flipped Georgia from red to blue. In the last hour, U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock said he sees a lot of issues with this law and he hopes to make some changes at the federal level.
As bad as it is, what they were trying to pass was even worse. SB 202 will allow for a hostile takeover of local boards of elections if the Georgia legislature, filled with politicians, doesn't like the outcome of an election. It's anti-democratic. It's un-American. They're trying to make it harder for people to vote rather than making it easier.
A lawsuit has now been filed in response to the new election laws. It's been brought on by the New Georgia Project, Black Voters Matter Fund, and RISE. The case claims the bill's voting restrictions violate the 14th Amendment and Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. It's 12:25 right now. We'll be right back after this.
Weather changes can make or break your day. That's why the 11 Alive storm trackers are always watching what's coming next, delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. For storm trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
And the fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun. Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the first of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee. Come see the difference on Morning Rush weekdays.
Well, we are looking at 75 degrees for this afternoon as we begin to clear it out, but unfortunately the rain comes back to us over the weekend. Chance for showers early on Saturday. Thunderstorms could be around on Sunday. We'll clear it up for Monday with 64 degrees for the high, but the rain returns as we head into the work week.
All right, Chesley, thanks for that. A lot of cleanup happening today. I hope a lot of people down in the Newnan area, the Polk County area, Bartow area can get some of that cleaned up before the rain comes in. We'll keep you updated online and on 11alive.com until we're back at 11 Alive at 5. Thanks for watching 11 Alive News at noon. Stay safe.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.